So, as always, this is me, Mostrino. This is my voice.
Hey, it's Kovak. I don't have anything funny to say this time.
This is El Gatos, the number one music ranker in the community.
This is Image. I don't know. I do shit.
Yeah.
I'm KingDolphin, and last time I was here, every time I talked, there was a plane in the background. So this time it should be better.
Yeah, it sounds better.
What
I
I was
haven't
gonna,
even gone yet, but I mean, I talk so much anyway. I mean, I can't say I'm a citizen like King Dolphin is, but I will come in on runway 22 left.
Yeah, I think I saw you.
So, going right into the Monster Cat releases of the past week, starting with Monday's release, the Fool and Scum track Hysteria. My thoughts on it, it did some kind of neat things in like the intro and the mid section, but the drops definitely felt flat to me, and it was kind of disappointing overall. Although I can't say I was too disappointed because I didn't have high expectations in the first place, but still pretty weak.
Oh, I didn't listen to this. I'll be right back.
Fantastic.
I don't know.
Amazing.
So yeah, this is just like, in my opinion, it's just like it's a mid-tempo synthwave track. It exists, maybe. Like it's the textbook definition of like a 5 out of 10. If you like synthwave and you like mid-tempo stuff, then you'll like this. But like, just listen to like any other song.
Yeah, I know last episode we were talking about how we wanted Fools to start switching things up, and this isn't really that. It's kind of like Revenger and every other one of his tracks, but it kind of does some cool things in between, like the off drops and everything. But besides that, it's actually very boring in my opinion. I wouldn't come back to it at all, and it's probably one of my least favorites of him.
Honestly, like something I see with like Fool is like the singles that he releases before the EP tend to be kind of lackluster, and then the EP is like better or at least good. You know,
I would say the complete opposite. Like the only Fool tracks I've liked in the past, like since he released Carry On, is Carry On, and then I liked Neon off of that EP, and then I liked I liked Revenger, but I didn't like the EP. And I actually think that I hated the past two EPs. I don't really like them at all. But this song is one of his best since at least 2014, in my opinion. Like, it's not great, but the two EPs I don't like them at all.
Bro, you said 2014.
Yeah, which I know is 3 EPs, but still, I liked the singles in 2014, but I didn't like that EP. Wasn't a huge hit for me in 2015, and then the one earlier this year and last year I didn't really like overall.
Remember that Showdown is 2016, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, I do like that one. I forgot about that.
Showdown bangs.
True.
Yes.
true.
I don't know. I'm not even disappointed about Hysteria. Like, I knew it was gonna be run of the mill, standard, mid tempo, and I'm really just not excited for the EP at all. Like, I know the entire EP is gonna be like this, so
Yeah.
I'm not really missing out.
The last track I liked from Fool on the label was Carry On. Although I re-listened to the Highway EP and that one was actually quite solid, but as far as on the label goes, he's been dealing miss after miss for the most part.
Fool has unreleased collabs with Electric, Boss Fight, and I think Clock Vice, and those should be released.
Hopefully it's not like a Kuro moment where it's like Clock Vice is amazing, but he only touches like 2% of the song. Hopefully we can actually hear their sounds in it.
Yeah.
Hopefully Clockvice isn't too experimental for the label.
True.
I want to see more experimental stuff on this label.
Yeah.
I know that like everyone shit on Karma Fields way back, and that's why Karma Fields doesn't really release here anymore. But like, I want artists to take more risks. Like, we're not a kiddie label.
I mean,
Yes, we are.
Well, I mean, we are. But like,
now that's a bad kitty.
Not a child label.
Well, I mean, they just did their collab with Roblox, so before you
Yeah.
know it, the
Yeah,
average
true.
server
We're going full circle.
yeah.
The average Monster Cat fan age is gonna decrease by 5 years now.
I was gonna say that I can't wait for our Monster Cat X Club Penguin, but Club Penguin's dead.
Bruh. Okay,
Rip.
KingDolphin, do you have a word or two to say on the track?
Yes.
That's it. That's his only word. Yes.
I mean, it was cool.
Yeah,
Thanks.
That's all I got about it. It was really boring, but it was cool.
pretty much.
Like every single other Fool track.
Yeah,
He has some good ones, but not this one.
Yeah, exactly.
exactly. Moving on to Tuesday's release, hopefully KingDolphin has heard this one, is Thinking About You by Ramses B, Rameses B, however you like to pronounce it.
Uh-oh. I'll be right back. Here.
What a Jesus.
Well, this one was my personal favorite of the week. I don't think it's one of his strongest because Ramses B, Rameses B, he's done some fantastic stuff before, but the melody in this is really nice. I like how it switches up. So yeah, it's quite solid.
Yeah, I think this is pretty like standard Rameses B, except it's really similar to like his other two Monster Cat releases this year. But the 4 on the floor switch up on the second drop is really nice.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's even like basic run of the mill Rameses B is like better than 90% of the artists on the label. So I'll take it.
True.
Yeah. I probably stated before how much I love Ramesses B's style, and this is no exception. The melody in this one struck me as particularly really nice. Like, it's super solid. I love the first drop, and the 4 on the floor drop just nails it on the head, and it's probably one of my favorite tracks of the year right now. It's super clean. I love it, and it further establishes Ramesses B as one of the better, or even one of the best artists on the label.
Honestly, going into this, I didn't really listen to this too much like this week until I went and grinded out all this music today. But if you were to show me just the first drop and tell me that this was like virtuality or something like that, then I wouldn't even, I wouldn't bat an eye. Like, okay, yeah, it's typical Ramesses B. But the second drop is kind of made me go from, well, it's just another track of his to this is actually kind of good. But yeah, the second drop is what saves it from I'm probably not going to listen to this ever again.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like the second drop where it goes on, was it 4 on the floor? Like,
Yeah.
it definitely changed it up. This song, like, I don't know why, but it reminds me a lot of Timeless, which is from like 2013 or something, or 2014. And then just another comment is going off of what I think Joe said this when it first came out, is the switch sample. It doesn't fit the song like at all, in my opinion.
Switch.
Yeah. Like, I didn't even hear it the first few times I listened to it until like Joe pointed it out, and then I listened to it the other day. I was like, oh, that's there. And like, I feel like it doesn't fit in a Ramesses B track.
Yeah, it is kind of out of place. It doesn't ruin it for me, but it does feel a little awkward. I'll agree with you on that.
I will say though that
It's a bit awkward.
yeah, I'll say that I like this better than Forever, but it's nothing. It's got nothing on Children.
Yeah,
For at least
Children is
2020.
Yeah,
really
yeah.
solid. So the next
Sick.
song, which is Thursday's release, kind of a wonky one, but we'll get there, is the new Tizoki track Sideways, which when I first heard it, I enjoyed it, but it sounded really empty, and I thought, it was like minimal, but not really done that well. But upon re-listening to it, the minimalism has grown on me quite a bit. So I don't know, I'm starting to enjoy it more and more.
I really like the song overall. The only thing that bothers me is how the vocals switch. Like, they change like 3 times throughout the song, where it's like they start off being quick, and I don't know if they're swung, but they're just really quick, and then it slows down, and then there's vocal chops in the drop, and then it just repeats that over, and I feel like it doesn't work. I'd rather have the vocals just be regular singing. I don't like those really fast start stop vocals at the start.
This should be like a track that I just absolutely despise, but for whatever reason, I just don't. I think contrary to Jason's opinion, I think the vocals are really nice. I think at least like the very fast stuff at the beginning really works with like the mood that the song is going, and like the really like slappy snare that's used in the drop I really like. And then also we don't really talk about album art much, but the album art for this is really cool. It's very big like Blade Runner vibes, and I really like that.
Oh yeah, this is cool. One thing that I'll point out, which the background snare, the background drums in the intro, like the first bit of the verse, reminds me of that one section in Fellow Feeling by Porter Robinson when the snare goes sicko mode. That's how it reminds me of, like, when it's like really distorted. It was kind of neat to hear.
This track is amazing. Like, I really can say basically I can only say positive things about it. I've already heard it like 25 times this week. Like, I love the vocals. The drop is so fucking fat. Like, it's insane. The vocal chops fit really well, and as Kovak mentioned, this again should be a track that I should hate, but I don't. I don't know. It's a weird one, but I love it for some reason, and yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever get another Tisoki track like this, but
yeah, or another Tisoki track. He's not too frequent.
Yeah, because Tisoki has been really divisive for me this year. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The Potions remix, which I absolutely hate. Oh. Like, I really dislike that one. But now you have this, and this might have turned into one of my favorite tracks of the year now. So, like, I don't know, everything flows so nicely. And besides that, the music video is also really cool. Like, I really like the animation that it presents and stuff.
So when this first came out in the newsroom, people were saying, like, this is awful. It's like the worst song on Monster Cat. I was like, I listened to it, and I don't think it's deserving of that. I wouldn't say it's amazing, but it's not horrible. It's like, it's something I'm not going to come back to, but it's like passable. The drops are good, but I feel like it could have been better because I really like everything else, but yeah, the drops are just what bring it down for me.
Gotcha.
Well, speaking of me wanting more experimental stuff on this label, this definitely, I mean, of course it's not like anything too groundbreaking, but like you don't expect this, like
it's probably the most experimental of 2020.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know why, but I love it so much. Like, there's just some charm in it that I'm not getting at all.
He just wants to marry it. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, exactly. I will leave my boyfriend and I will marry Sideways by Tisoki.
Can someone officiate the wedding?
I gotta say, this really does scratch my itch for more experimental music. It's super clean. Like, we're probably never getting something like this, or probably like in a long time. And it's so different and so unique that the first time I heard it, I was like, "What the fuck is this?" But in the most positive way possible. Like, I was positively surprised by what this track was bringing to the table. Like, I was still kind of mixed on the drop at the time, but I was pleasantly surprised by having a track like this on the label, and I was kind of scared too because I knew it was gonna be very divisive, and I've seen the effects on that. I've seen people give it like zeros.
Bro, and then people give it like 9s or like 9.5s.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I guess is Image brought up is basically very, very similar to what happened with Karma Fields. People absolutely despise their music and people absolutely love their music. So whenever you get something that's different, that's kind of something that tends to happen, which is interesting.
What this actually reminds me a lot of is the Kill Paris track Venus Flytrap.
Oh
in
yeah, you're right.
Introspection.
I don't really see it.
More of just like how both of them are like really minimally trap tracks that have sort of like, I guess, that have like a very wonky feel that everybody seems to either love or hate.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and I'd say to an extent the Eliminate remix of Play too.
Yeah, that's
Just a
similar
little
to
bit.
this too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah, that one's a banger too. And that one was very divisive. I saw the comments on the YouTube video, and it was like you either loved it or just gamer saying that how much they dislike the track and how much they want more montage music.
Yeah.
Write out 5 paragraphs on why the Eliminate remix of Play is trash.
Yeah,
I think the Eliminate remix has grown on me a lot after listening to a lot more of his original stuff. Like, I don't know, something about it just grew on me.
So now, moving on to Friday's release, the new Rogue track Fusion. My thoughts on it: it was nice. It was all right, but it felt a little bit lackluster to me. I think it felt a bit like missed potential, and also they take so long to build up to the drops. Like they have a build up, and then it's like never mind, and then they do another build up, and then the drop comes, and it's like it doesn't pay off for me.
Yeah, I think if this track didn't like come out in the middle of the summer, I probably wouldn't have enjoyed it that much because it's like a perfect summer song for me, I guess. But yeah, to me, it sounds just kind of like an improved version of Mirage, that one track that he released 2 years ago. Just in the way that's presented, and then the music video is really nice. It gives me throwbacks to Humility by Gorillaz a lot.
I really like the song. It was probably my favorite of this week. And I didn't watch the Sideways music video, but this is probably, like, excluding Conroe, like, one of the only good music videos that we've had in a long while.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't seen the Tasaki one, but, like, it wasn't... I really liked the references to, it was, like, Tokyo Machine, Muzz, Afixa, and...
Yeah.
Pegboard Nerds. That one was a really subtle one, the Pegboard Nerd reference. But I really like this song. It was definitely different for his future bass music, but it wasn't like too like poorly. It wasn't poorly mastered like Move Me was, but it still gave me like really happy summertime vibes.
I'd say this track. Usually Rogue's music doesn't amaze me at first. Like, my first impression of a Rogue track would always be, okay, this is good. And then it'll either grow off or grow on me. And in this case, it grew on me. Because it's just such a nice track. It's relaxing, it's upbeat, and you can never really go wrong with Rogue Future Bass. You have his great vocals, and he's really good at production. He has good melodies. Like, this isn't like fantastic song of the year or anything, but it's really nice and it's really fun to listen to. And you guys are mentioning all these summer vibes and everything, and even I get them when I'm in winter. So
Yeah.
that's a bro moment.
True.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I always like Rogue's vocals, but this track doesn't do much for me. Like, honestly, even some of his like past future bass type tracks don't do much, but it's like one part of those tracks that gets me, and that's what gets me coming back. Like, for example, Oceans was that kind of 4 on the floor thing, like in the not quite the build up, but like before that. So I don't know, chorus or whatever, and like Fortress was those stabs. But yeah, like there isn't anything that like stands out to me and is gonna make me come back to it. But it's not bad. It's just a little boring, in my opinion.
Moving to the bonus Saturday release, we're starting to get some of these remixes probably going to be coming out super speed shortly. We have the Glacier remix of Half an Orange's track Mark Twain, which I thought it was actually quite neat. It wasn't near Glacier's best, but I thought it was a pretty neat take on the track, and it was pretty funky and jazzy.
I think, to me, at least, this just kind of sounds like a Glacier track, but with Mark Twain's vocals and then the percussion from the song and it laced in it throughout. And it's a. That being said, it's a Glacier song. Of course, it's like amazing, and all like the little touches that he throws into the songs are great. But as a remix, it just kind of feels really disjointed, I suppose. But I don't know. Supposedly, there's one Half an Orange remix releasing every Saturday in August. So who knows? Yeah,
that's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, they said it was gonna be remixes of songs on Mostly We Grow Part 1, 2, and Part 3, which they confirmed. So maybe we're getting a song this month as well.
That's gonna be interesting.
Yeah. Unless we get a remix before an original, which would be really weird.
We actually probably could be getting the EP. But we actually could be getting the EP because we've had Time Travel, Kool-Aid, Scared, and Sit Like a Flamingo all released already.
The thing is, I don't feel like those will be on the EP. I feel like they're gonna not do a collab EP.
Didn't they say they were gonna release like all collabs this year?
Bro.
I think they said they had like a bunch of collabs lined up for this year.
Yeah, if you look at the music videos, it teases like not that this will be the collabs, but it teases like Boss Fight, Tokyo Machine, Just a Gent, I think Going Quantum, Stephen Walking, and I think like one or two more overall. I haven't watched the video for the Glacier remix.
I'm so excited for that Half an Orange and Sabai collab. It's gonna be a bomb.
Let's go.
Oh no.
Wow, that's
my mind literally cannot process Half an Orange X Just a Gent. Like, it's just an impossible thing.
Like,
It's never
it
gonna happen.
could work, but after Urka, nah.
I don't know. Honestly, it'd be kind of cool to see like darker Half an Orange. You know what I mean? Like something that's still Instinct, but not like really blurring the lines. You know?
So instead of traveling to San Diego, they're murdering someone in
No,
They play Doom Eternal.
I mean musically, not thematically.
Well, the track
We're
would
not
be
traveling to San
fucking sick,
Diego,
but then,
we're traveling to Southside, bro.
Imagine a Half an Orange Screamo vocals.
Oh no,
Half an Orange,
Half an Orange
Echo,
as
King.
Junior.
Yeah, that's my cue to leave.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, see ya.
Oh man.
like Dirty Phonics and Half an Orange and it's a black.
Well,
So,
no, I don't mean.
Orange
I
and
don't
Reaper
mean-
and Half an Orange, bro.
Oh my god.
No, it'd
But
be
yeah,
Reaper
I
and
don't
Cloud
know.
Nine.
Like a darker Half an Orange track with Just a Gent could be really cool, but then the vocals kick in and
Considering how much these two artists release, I'm expecting a Half an Orange and Cloud9 collab within the next year.
I could
Bruh.
see Cloud9 doing a remix.
yeah.
That's true. That's
Because I know
possible.
that earlier this year he said that he had 2 remixes done. One of them was the Elenum remix, and we don't know
Oh
what
yeah.
it is. Which I would believe it's either going to be one of the Rocket League remixes, which is also supposed to come out in August. So we're going to get a lot of songs this month,
From here, VIP? Question mark.
possibly.
I want that.
Cloud9 did a remix of Scared I Would Nut.
That
That'd be interesting.
that would.
Yeah.
I don't know, any Cloud9 remix of a Half an Orange track would be interesting, because Half an Orange tracks are usually more upbeat and Cloud9 are more like down tempo. So
Yeah.
that'd be like a unique twist. Maybe Cloud9 could remix a track, a Half an Orange track that we haven't gotten yet, that could be more like darker or more down tempo, and that would make more sense. But right now it'd be kind of weird, kind of
Video
like a
games,
shift
Cloud9
theme.
remix, bro.
So far, like Mark Twain was the only
Play
like
my video
song
games
that
and
was
it's just like sob music in the background, bro.
not- so far
Video
like Mark
games, but you're in the bathroom at a club.
Twain,
Video games, but you had a bad day. But yeah,
Losing the
coming
video
back
games.
to the Glacier remix.
anyways,
The original Mark Twain, in my opinion, is like a 5. It's like in between because I really despise the production in the track. I don't think it works, but I think the vocals are Half an Orange's best performance yet. And having those vocals in Glacier production, you already know where this goes. Um, it's a really fun remix. I didn't expect it to be like fast funk,
Yeah.
and super catchy, super fun, energetic. I love it. Like Glacier is a legend. I don't know how he does it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I like the original Mark Twain because it was not a typical half an orange. Like it was kind
Yeah,
of
it's
that like
different.
trap sort of thing, you know. I don't know. I kind of like cursory listened to this, and I didn't really listen to it again. It's okay, I guess. Like I wouldn't see myself seeking it out in a playlist, but like if this comes on, yeah, I'd probably bop to it.
Yeah, I would agree
Yeah.
with that. I like the original, and I like this one too. But I mean, I'm not gonna search for it just to listen to it unless I have reason to. But I mean, it seemed different for like remixes that we get. Like it seemed like an original track with the vocals in it, which isn't a bad thing by any means. And then like the one thing I didn't love about it was the outro where it slows in BPM, which normally I'm fine with that, but it seemed to do a little too much to the vocals in it.
I was gonna mention that I actually did quite like the outro, not necessarily just the the slowing in the BPM, but like Glacier does so many wonky things with the chords at the end, and I thought that was cool to hear. So now, moving on to the past week's releases of a few other labels. This one we did last week, and we're bringing it back again, which is Bitbird, which in the past week released the Nicholas's Silver Side EP. And I mean, I'm listening to this one. It's really nice, and the production's good. The vocals are good, and I think this is actually quite solid from the Nicholas. And I'm excited to see what they're going to be doing in the future.
Yeah, I think a lot of the appeal for the Nicholas for me is like he can like write really like catchy and really memorable like melodic lines or hooks or whatnot, because his production, in my opinion, is very like basic lo-fi. But yeah, like the way that this song or the way that these albums are written is like really pleasant to listen to, really relaxing, and just has like a very good energy behind it. And then it's also really cool that we have Sophie Winterson, Appleby, and Golden Vessel all return to Bitbird after appearing on a bunch of stuff a while ago.
Yeah, I don't know. I like the lo-fi aesthetic. I hadn't listened to the Nicholas's last EP. I might have listened to like a song like casually once, just randomly. But yeah, I don't know. It was good to vibe to. What was the track? I'm trying to remember. The only track I didn't really like too much was Waves. I didn't really like the vocals on it. But yeah, otherwise I thought this was really good. It's something that would totally fit on like the lo-fi beats to relax to sort of channels.
True.
True. That is very true. Yeah. In my opinion, this is really good. I like it a lot. Very relaxing. And in my like my favorite track is Cardboard Box. Like that one's super super nice. I love it, and it kind of reminds me of something I listened to like in the Headspaces LP from Hudson Lee. It kind of has like that kind of vibe to it. And yeah, when something reminds you of that masterpiece, you know, it's great. But yeah, overall, very solid. I probably won't really come back to it too much, but it's definitely there, and I'll probably, yeah, I respect it a whole lot. It does what it wants to do really nicely.
So you see, I'm lame, and I don't really listen to anything outside of Monster Cat. But I listened to like I think it was like 3/4 of the songs, in the listening session that we had, and I really like them. They're pretty good. They're really like what you guys have said, just like chill lo-fi music stuff. And then I'd imagine like a lot of people would really like Pop Up, because I forget exactly what it sounds like, but I took a note that like the vocals are pretty like sad sounding like kind of depressing, and I feel like people would relate to that or something like that. So, yep.
We haven't gotten to the Billie Eilish track yet.
And you'll be ready when we get to it. But for now, this is a label that we didn't talk about last week. We're talking about it this week. We're going to regret talking about it this week, but
Yeah.
we're going to talk about it anyway. So
My ears absolutely despise this album, so
this
let's get into it.
Disciple, and in the past week, they released From the Depths EP by Wales. Now, my opinion to it is very similar to other people here, but I think you guys can put it in better words than me, so I'll just let you guys go off.
Yeah, so this, like, I don't know, this is probably the, like, least professional, probably the most painful sounding rhythm EP that I've listened to ever. Because you have, like, Whirlpool, which loops the same vocal sample, like, 50 times. And then you have, like, fucking Krill the Game, which has a sound effect that sounds like a fucking dental drill. And then, like, Harpoon and Blubber are both like a complete mess. The Kraken is quite possibly the most generic rhythm track I've ever heard. And then Weeble Wobble is the worst Weeble Wobble on Disciple. So
I don't think anyone else needs to say anything about this. I think that sums it up.
Yeah. This is like it's solid 1 out of 10 EP.
Yeah.
True.
Okay, to be honest, I am absolutely differing in all your opinions here. Like, this isn't, like, good, but, however, like...
You're really stretching here, guys.
However, comma, like, the sound design, even if it is a little kind of iffy, it's at least different than same old kind of generic rhythm shit, and I kind of like the vocal or whatever in Krill the Game. Yeah. But otherwise, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's good headbanging material, sort of.
All right.
I'm someone who will like this type of music in very specific situations.
Exactly.
But this is not one of them.
This is the EP that makes me think about that one Calvin Harris tweet where he called dubstep Nazi headbanger music.
Yeah, well, my thoughts on this, it's bad, but it has in some regards, in huge quotations,
Like
respectable sound designs. But it's not mixed well, and everything clashes. It's super messy, and you have like 15 drops in one track.
Yeah,
True, that one
like
track.
half of them have 4 drops, and it's like, why?
Mm-hmm.
They're all the
And
same.
it's like 3 minutes long, bruh.
It
Yeah.
feels like 30.
It's like,
True.
please headbang to my track. Please headbang to my track. But
Yeah.
you end
Yeah.
up making a track that's barely listenable. So, yeah.
Don't worry, it gets better. Just turn off the audio.
So in short, these songs are terrible, but they could be worse.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Actually, yeah, they could be worse, but at that point, then they probably shouldn't even be accepted by the label. So,
Riot 10 moment. Oh yeah.
yeah, Riot
Fuck.
10. Yeah, Riot 10 is basically just Riot 10's worst.
Now,
True.
moving on to the third and final label whose past week's releases we're discussing today is NSD Never Say Die, which
Okay.
had only 2 singles, but we're gonna get right into them. The first one, new Must Die track titled Hellburst. I always associated Must Die with dubstep, so I was surprised to hear that this was not dubstep. I also found it to be not good. That's some of my thoughts on it. It's like max distortion, louder, better. That's basically
Yeah.
it.
I think when I first heard that this was hardstyle, I was like, damn, this is actually going to be really good, because in the one Must Die track, Bliss 2K, the one that everybody really likes, there's that part in the drop where it's just like this really blown out hardstyle-esque kick that's like amazing. But this song, I think the hardstyle drop itself, although it's really, really, really distorted, it sounds all right. But the dubstep drop immediately after is just so empty that it kind of just throws off the whole energy of the track. So
The
overall, it's just
exact
disappointing.
thoughts. I have the exact same thoughts, though I really like the hardstyle drop. I think it's about time that Must Die made a hardstyle track. He's made so many good tracks with hardstyle kicks, like in dubstep, and it kind of throws me off a bit that he didn't make a hardstyle track in the past, but now we got it, and the hardstyle drop itself is really solid. I like it. The distortion makes it like really heavy, and I think that's what Must Die's music has evolved to, and I really enjoy Must Die's music. But as Kovak mentioned, the dubstep drop just kind of ruins the entire momentum the track has had going, and all the energy just falls completely flat. But then it kind of reverts back to the hardstyle drop, though the energy was already kind of cut in half because of the dubstep drop. Like I would have been much happier if the track was entirely hardstyle and you had like added sounds to make it like more progressive and stuff, but no, that's not what happened, and it's okay. I'm probably not gonna come back to it a lot, even if I like the hardstyle drop, but the dubstep drop just kills it for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd have to agree there. That's about all I gotta say about it. You guys have summed it up pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say if I want to go all crazy to a super stupid heavy track, then this might work, but it's not one that I'd see myself ever actually actively looking out for. Like, yeah, I can't wait to go back to that new Must Die track. That's just not gonna be it for me. And then the other Never Say Die track that released in the past week was Derma Crush by, I'm not sure how to pronounce the name, I think Akios, not sure, but this one reminded me of polyrhythm, except without being polyrhythmic. Yeah. So it's like, because like they have like the rhythm lead that goes all over the place. I really didn't care for it, but it wasn't super generic. You know, it did some things different, but it wasn't amazing or anything for me.
Yeah, because it also reminded me a lot of polyrhythm, and like what made polyrhythm so interesting is that it had like all of these very musically complex ideas in it that you could really like analyze and really think about. Just something that you don't really hear a lot in dubstep, but this song doesn't have any of these elements, so it's just really like a slightly above par rhythm song with okay sound design.
Yeah,
I think what really caught me off guard with this track was how the melody and the leads and stuff is so weird, and it kind of like changes a lot. But yeah, it reminds me of polyrhythm too, but without the cool bits. So you have this track that kind of just exists.
I don't really like this. The one thing that I want to point out about it though is before the drops, I don't know if it's the pitch changes down, but that's how I interpret it as. So the pitch changes down, and I don't like that. I hate when songs change pitch like that, or if that's not even what it is. That's what it sounds like to me, but I hate it. So, yeah.
All right. So now a few other hand-picked singles to discuss from the past week. The first one, the new Billionaire Eyelash, bro, the new Billie Eilish track, My Future, which I thought it was nice. Not exactly the kind of music I'm into, but I thought it was well done and a quite nice listen.
Yeah, well, I don't think like Billie Eilish is like the most experimental artist. She's definitely like probably the most interesting artist in the mainstream pop sphere, and this really continues that. I think her voice is really nice. The lyrics are really good. Phineas's production, especially in the second half, works really, really well. And yeah, it's just a solid pop song.
Mm-hmm. I'm a fan of Billie's stuff personally. I really like her voice. I think, even though I don't really like the community and the fan base because of the whole 14-year-old white girls and stuff, but the tracks themselves are really nice. This in particular struck me as kind of interesting because it's not really the most unique thing in the world, but that last like the second half and the switch up it has, like it kind of kicks up in the rhythm. It's really cool, and yeah, it has some really neat chord progressions, and as previously stated, Billie Eilish's voice is just fantastic. So it's kind of like a well-rounded, really neat track that I'm definitely gonna come back to. Not as amazing as Everything I Wanted, in my opinion, but it's still really good.
Well, I like the backing vocal. Like, I just skimmed through this, so I like the backing vocal, and the second part was really nice. So yeah, I don't know. I'll go back and like listen to this all the way through, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's an alright song. I mean her songs overall are pretty decent. I mean she's basically just an ASMR singer. That's basically what it is. And yeah, I mean it's just fits in with her other songs. I mean I skimmed through it too. I haven't listened to the whole thing, so I can't.
Yeah, her singing style reminds me of KingDolphin in voice chat.
Yeah.
So now, moving on to the next one on this list is the Plusol remix of I Remember by Deadmau5, and I think Cascade was on that too, but I forgot to put that in. But when I first heard this, I was blown away. It's absolutely mental. There's so much. It's like controlled chaos. It hits so hard, and there's so many things going on, but it's such a banger at the same time.
Yeah, I really like how, especially in like, I guess post Entity, which is like the song that really got him big, like Plusol's really starting to like get into his own and like his sound design, and it's really improving a lot. And with this remix, like it's probably one of his, my opinion, one of his best songs yet. It just has like such like a weight to it that's just amazing to listen to.
Yeah, I like the idea a lot. I think for me, some of the kicks and stuff are really loud, like a bit too loud, like toned down a bit, they would be really cool. But besides that, the track itself is really great. Plusol is a good artist, and I'm not surprised that this is, it's cool. It's a great remix overall. But then again, I would tone down some of the things I thought it was a bit too loud sometimes.
Damn.
I just skimmed through it and I heard like it's like a really calm melodic intro, and then I skipped to like the drop and I'm like, oh, this is not what I expected. And I also don't listen to any of those artists, so I definitely didn't know what to expect. Yeah.
Moving on, third one on this list, Play Pretend, the new Casbo track, which I thought it was quite nice, honestly. It didn't do anything too special, but I thought it was a pretty nice listen. I enjoyed the atmosphere in there, and the vocals were good.
Yeah, this track reminds me a lot, like especially in the synth textures, a lot of like John Hopkins' work, and anything that reminds me of John Hopkins is like automatically good. So
yeah,
good a really solid like house tune. I'm now really excited for the new Casbo album.
Instant playlist that. I love this. I love the ambience. It's super nice, super catchy. It's a vibe. It's definitely a hell of a vibe. I love it. It's super. I don't know. It's like a mix of chill but kind of upbeat at the same time. I don't know. It's like a. Yeah, it's very good in general. I like it a lot.
I agree with that word for word.
Same.
I just wonder why we never got stuff like this on Monster Cat.
Yeah.
That would have been great, honestly. This is what Instinct could have been, but instead we got Sabai.
Oh my god.
All right, now for the next one on this list is the I didn't see this one coming, but it was actually quite neat to see. Rob Gasser released a remix of Tokyo Machine's OK, which I listened to it and it was more of a banger than I thought it was going to be. It was glitch hop, which is most songs of that style of glitch hop are basically from like 2014-15, so it was neat to see the throwback to that style, and I thought it was very well done and a verified banger.
So I was the one that suggested this, and I hadn't actually listened to it. I just saw that it existed, and while it was playing in our session, I was like, why did I suggest this? Like, it's I don't like it, but at the same time, I love it.
That makes sense.
Like, the intro, I hate. I don't like the intro, and the drop just seems like the original, but just slightly different, and then it has I think the start of the second drop is like hardstyle kicks for like 2 measures, and I kind of wish that it kept doing that. It didn't sound like a well produced remix though. It just sounded like, oh, I'll throw this in the DAW and add a few kicks to it and change the BPM a little bit, swing it or something.
Yeah.
Like, it's something I could do, and I can't do anything. So
Yeah, like this is pretty much just like okay, but if it was glitch hop, I think a lot like my biggest real problem with it, other than there's just really not a whole lot changes, is that it's just way too slow. Like it could like it's just I don't know, it just feels very sluggish.
It threw me off completely, and I think it's kind of weird to listen to the okay melody, which one would associate to be very quick, very energetic, with a glitch hop, kind of slower, kind of vibe to it, and it, in my opinion, doesn't really work. I wasn't really that big on it, and yeah, I agree with it's kind of just slower, okay, and it was if it was hit glitch hop.
All right. Now to this last one on our releases from this past week list. So it's Spicy Rhythm Drums by Virtual Riot, and this track only exists to promote his new sample pack, but for some reason it was treated as an actual song and like distributed on Spotify and other places. So I guess we're going to talk about it as an actual song and just ignore the fact that it's literally just a sample pack demo. So if I had to treat it as just an actual song, it would be very disappointing for Virtual Riot because he hasn't done anything in like a year, and then this comes out and it's rhythm.
Yeah, I think the track itself is just like a basic rhythm track, but what really like hurts the most for me is that the last time these guys collabed, they released the track Nothing, which is like one of my favorite tracks of 2019. It's just like a ridiculously fun dubstep song. So hearing basically the follow-up being this is just a massive letdown to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the build-up had something good going on. Like, I kind of like those long sort of fake-out build-ups, but then the drop fell harder. Or, no, excuse me. The drop fell flatter than my boyfriend's chest. Yes, I came up with that joke beforehand. I'm sorry.
Epic.
Nice.
It's definitely a sample pack showcase track. I'll give it that. It's definitely a track that exists. Is it good? Probably not. Would I come back to it? Probably not.
The people who will actually stream this on Spotify are probably listening to the Whales EP as we speak.
It's true.
This is, to be fair, this is way better than that, in my opinion.
At least Virtual Riot was able to do that.
Like 10 times better.
So now, moving on to our list of throwbacks. From Monday, the first one we have is High Tide by Grant, or at the time Grant Bowtie, which is which already turned 5 years old. My thoughts on it, it's really nice. It's really, really smooth. I really love the sounds that are used there, and it's just quite an enjoyable track overall.
Yeah, I typically have like a hard time describing Grant tracks because really like there's just so much going on in a lot of them that it's sort of hard for me to like completely dissect them, I suppose. But this track was like probably the first one that he had released where I thought like, holy crap, this is like an amazing, like this is like Reach, Clockwork, and Cloud9 were all like good, but this was like on another level. Just how like low melodic riff that plays during the tracks, all the vocal samples in it are really work really well. Yeah, I don't know, it's really good.
Yeah, it's a smooth track, but I've played it so much that now it's just a skip whenever I hear that intro, like, to be honest.
Dang.
Shame.
Yeah.
I really like the song. It has been off of me. I don't think I was a huge fan when it first came out because it was on 023, which had like half future bass. But this one definitely like stuck out, and it definitely sticks out from the rest of the future bass on that album. And I mean, pretty much, yeah, I love it.
This one aged like wine. This one's so good still. Like, Grant has proven time and time again that he's one of the most interesting, intricate, and best producers on the label. And this is just a perfect example of that. You have everything going on is fantastic. The track has so much replay value. It's actually insane. And it's such a fun, catchy tune. Like, yeah, you can't really go wrong with this one.
Moving on to our next throwback, same day, turning 8 years old, is Dimensions by Hellberg. My thoughts on it: it sounds really old and not good.
This is the musical equivalent to like eating bread. Like there's just nothing. It's like it builds up for like 3 minutes, then it's just like a really muddy big drum drop, and then it does the same thing again. And then it's just very like it kind of reminded me of the song Epos by Zed. Just how it's sort of like this big epic drop and then it goes into this really minimal sort of electro-y thing. But yeah, this just doesn't even hold a candle to that song. So
all I think about is how those drums at the beginning sound like banging pots and pans. Was this the inspiration for Kitchen Step? ?
Yeah.
Original. Yeah, the only like thing that is okay about the song is like the commercial house drop, but that's still standard old. What is it, 2012 or something?
Yeah,
2012.
Yeah, 2012 com house. So not much.
008, the compilation, had its anniversary 8 years ago on the same day as well, but we figured we're not going to have enough time to go through it track by track, so let's just go over our thoughts on it as a whole, talk about the artwork, and call it as that. My thoughts on it as a whole: it's an old compilation. It's following up 007, which was freakishly good for the time, so it's quite forgettable, and there's some good tracks, but overall not that great.
Yeah, I think overall for 008 for me specifically, I think the first the first compilation that I gave an average positive score, I think was 014. And a lot of the main reason why is a lot of like the production in a lot of these tracks is extremely outdated. And you can really tell like a lot of these artists are just, they're not really like, they're at this point they would have been like very obscure and like not very well like they'd be very inexperienced. So yeah, it's just overall I think like just going through it, I think like Ocean City by Eminence is a really underrated track, but the rest of it is just a whole lot of forgettable. And then like the Resonate track would be really good if it was mastered.
Yeah,
there's like 5 songs that I would go back and listen to, but the rest now, like it's old 2012 music, so
yeah,
bad production. Just
I think it's kind of fun to see like the old direct tracks, especially considering how much I love his music currently. Yeah, and it's cool to see how these old artists have progressed to something like much greater. You have like quite forgettable tracks. I think my favorite could be Rocktronic, maybe Too Simple, probably. That or Pressure Cooker, probably because of nostalgia, but yeah, in general, I'm not really a huge fan of this comp. Just sounds very dated.
Yeah.
It's not fantastic, and while it does have direct tracks, they're not very good.
Yeah.
So
the bro step old, I don't know if they are bro step, but they're definitely not the dubstep he does now.
they're not Parallax, so they're not good.
Yeah, I don't know. The only track I'd really come back to on this is Black Magic, and even then, it's more just nostalgia. And I feel the artwork is like one of the weakest in the original saga, I guess.
Yeah, I just noticed that they have actually the visualizer in the back there.
Wait, what? Hold on.
Yeah, where they're performing, there's visualizers on like 3 panels.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that the artwork for this wasn't the original. This was still one of the ones that they added later on.
Yeah.
Oh wow, I'm an idiot. I didn't even notice that.
This is like also a really weird one because it's like one of maybe like 3 or 4 ones with actual people in it.
Yeah,
I
they look
Yeah.
weird.
This is also like I just had like this realization. I think this is the only one out of all the compilation arts to have a woman in it. Like straight out. It's just like now that I notice that it's just really weird and I don't like that.
There's probably one in 022, but 022 did the concert scene better.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, also the faces are really funny.
The dude right below the foot is just that you could
Who does
cut.
he looks like Gammer, the guy under the foot. He looks like Gammer.
He kind of looks like Haywire to me.
Yeah, I'd go with Haywire on that.
Yeah, also that.
For Tuesday, only one throwback that fell within our year range here. Turning 3 years old, certainly a fan favorite, the Grabbits and Savoy collab, Contemplate. I find it to be really nice, as most other people do. Great vocals, great production, and yeah, great track.
Yeah, I think this was on my best of 2017. This is like a really amazing synth pop track. I think Savoy and Grabbits have a really amazing chemistry together in both of their production styles. And yeah, Savoy, please come back.
True.
Yeah,
I would
and
love
Grabbits.
Yeah.
But like Savoy hasn't like straight up released anything since
Yeah,
September
true.
2018.
Yeah, true.
Bro. And
I played it.
they have
A
some
gem.
bangers on the label. Let You Let Me is so good.
I remember listening to Your Time when it came out and like nutting hard.
Yeah.
I don't think, for me at least, because I really like Leaving You, I don't think they have a bad track on the label at all.
Yeah.
don't.
I know a lot of people don't like Leaving You, but yeah.
And
I really
what was
like
their
Leaving
last
You
one on the
personally.
Instinct? Which one was...
Let You Go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
Let You
was
Go.
really good too.
Yeah, that one.
I didn't
was-
like it when it first came out, but not that's not the song we're discussing. But yeah, I mean, in terms of Contemplate, though, I really like the synth pop, and when it came out, it reminded me a lot of a song that came out like a month before, which is Yesterday by Pierce Fulton. They're
Oh,
like
yeah.
almost identical, and I really love synth pop songs.
That was on his Better Places album, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I actually was gonna suggest it for this week because I thought it came out the 29th of July, to suggest a throwback off label, but it was 29th of June. I was like, oh, okay,
Oh.
maybe next year.
That
But
album is
yeah,
very good though.
I mean, I really like. Just to touch on the artworks too. I really like the Savoy artworks. At least for the post 5-year layout. And I know that they use this artwork off label too. They just don't have the catalog in the corner. But yeah, I wish like there's no song that matches this. Like, not saying it's the best on a label, but this song can't. Like, nothing has come close to it.
Contemplate is definitely a high point for Savoy and for Monster Cat. It's one of my favorite tracks on the label. It's amazing. Like, there's, what can I say that hasn't been said before about this track? It's just beautiful, fantastic. The melody is incredible, and the vocals are phenomenal.
Yeah, you pretty much summed it up about the same I would. So yeah,
Please come back.
yes.
We require more Savoy.
Savoy, please.
Moving on to Thursday's throwbacks. There's 2 of them here. First one, turning 1 year old, is Riptide by Trevecta Amity, or however you pronounce their name, and then I don't even want to try with the vocalist name Rory. I'm not sure.
I think it's just Rory. Yeah.
So this one, I'm not sure about the general thoughts on it, but I really, really like it. I find it to be really solid, really impactful, and yeah, definitely a hit.
This is like a peak Ophelia music. Like it's very,
But not an Ophelia.
yeah, not on Ophelia. Very like synth heavy, sort of almost Porter Robinson-esque meldub or synth pop. And yeah, it's just like it's a very well made track. I think Rory's vocals are really good. And yeah, it's just there isn't really a whole lot to say, but it's a nice track. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like this one. It was, I think when I ranked IV4, it was I think it was my favorite one on the album. And I don't have anything bad to say about it. I love it. I think it's technically a lyric video for it was pretty good too. It kind of had like anime vibes to it. I don't know the correct terms, but like it had like very like simple, like at least like Eastern artwork style drawings to it. Seemed like, but
yeah. I remember I didn't really like this when it came out, but re-listening to it, it's pretty good. So yeah.
Yeah, I really like Trivecta as an artist. I think this is a perfect example of that. Last year, this was one of my favorite tracks. It's super impactful, super emotional. This is like peak Ophelia, as you mentioned. This is like crazy good melt-up, like really clean, great melody, super impactful, and it kind of just hits you when the drop gets.
Yeah.
So like the melody just kind of smacks you. It's super clean, super good. Yeah.
I guess the
No
one
wonder
thing...
we were all going crazy about this when it came out last year.
Yeah. The one thing that I would have liked is for something different to happen in the second drop, but the drops are still really good, so I can't complain too much.
Yeah.
And then the other throwback from Solero, Pussycat turning 8 years old, and at least for me, this is the first 8-year-old track that doesn't feel horrifically dated. Like, this one, upon re-listening to it, it still sounded really solid to me, and I just love the melody and kind of that style, and I think it's done quite well here.
Yeah, I think in terms of 8-year-old tracks, I think Ocean City is still better, sort of in like a technical aspect. But for this track, I think another one that I don't really have a lot to say about is just okay. It's a decent electro house track, nice melody, doesn't really have a lot going for it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's typical early Monster Cat electro house, at least in my opinion. So yeah, I don't know. I don't have many opinions on it.
This one's definitely like a throwback for me. Like I won't specifically listen to it unless I want to, which makes no sense. But it's not something I put in a playlist.
And then for the last stretch here, Fridays, throwbacks. First one, turning only a year old, is Can We Be Free by Kuro, which Katz wanted to send his regards. It's bad. My thoughts on it is, I mean, I don't really care for it. I don't love it. I don't hate it. It's catchy. I'll give it that. When they pitch the flute down for the second half of the drop, it sounds kind of weird and kind of low quality almost. But otherwise, it's a track that exists. And it's all right.
Yeah, I think to like this track, I think you have to like the flute in it. And if you don't like the flute in it, like me, you won't like it. And that's pretty much it. I also, because the uncredited vocalist, I don't know if, because it's CVBZ, I don't know if it's like Cabs or Cubs or something like that. But he's, from what I've listened to in Can We Be Free, he's very clearly like putting on an accent, and the accent, it just really, really does not work.
Yeah, it sounds really fake, you know.
Yeah, it does sound fake, but I don't know. I kind of like it.
Yeah,
so,
I like this song.
Yeah.
I kind of wish that they had more, like, there's a bug crawling on my screen, more instinct. Like, it's definitely different for them. Like, at least the more vocal, like, poppy-ish songs, like, their first one, Afraid of the Dark, then they had Don't Take Me Down, or whatever it's called. And then this one, and then She's Got a Gun, which is after whatever his name left the project, but those are all like poppy songs, and I like how it's different than their like other types of like drum step or drum and bass
or heavy trap.
Yeah.
It is probably a unique one in their discography for sure. Then the other one, turning 1 year old, compilation actually, is on Cage Volume 7 by Monster Cat. My thoughts on it: it's not a good compilation, but it's better than UV8 at least. They kind of took a nosedive for that one. But yeah, it's got some good songs, but I think the bad outweighs the good in this one.
Yeah, I think like looking at the really bad stuff, you have like Poison and Take Me Home and like Metaphysical, like tracks that are really, really like not good. But like in terms of stuff that I come back to, there's stuff like Soda, Neon, Amnesia, The Darkness, Run. Like I don't know, these tracks. The common thing for most of these tracks is that a lot of them are the artist really like stretching out to do something different with their style, like with the Pixel Terror tracks and the Shock One track and all those. But yeah, it's just overall not a very good compilation. And then if we're talking about the artwork, I think this is probably also the worst out of the Uncaged artworks. It just looks like, especially the top of the skull, looks like it's just photoshopped in.
Yeah, I'm looking at like the bottom where the teeth are, and it's supposed to look like it's sitting down, but it looks like it's just photoshopped over a blank wall.
It doesn't really have like a good sense of perspective.
Yeah, I think once they finish the like head artworks, like this is still like a skull, but like once they finish that, they didn't really know what to do until they started the island stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And this one, like I was kind of hoping that they would continue like 3 like styles of artwork at a time. Like they had UV1, UV2, UV3, which were all the heads with the bandana. Then they had the 4, 5, 6, which were the metallic skull, and then they had this one, and then you just go to 8 and it's the island. So
yeah,
but overall I was gonna say overall for like the songs, there's a few that are good, but overall like it's not a terrible comp, but it's probably one of the worst of post split. So
I don't know. I mean, just kind of skimming over the track list, it's okay. Like, yeah, I don't know. The album art, yeah, I agree, it's not good. So yeah,
the art.
I think like after UV6, it kind of went downhill. Like UV7, 8. I don't know, kind of, but it's still kind of iffy. 9 was good. Yeah. I will say that. But yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah. There's like, for me, like maybe 10 songs that I enjoy on this, but the rest are just, I would like. I'm not someone to skip music, but if I did, I definitely would.
Yeah, so. Like for this, literally, like I enjoy like 10 songs, like you said, and then like half of them are like the Xylent and the Pixel Terror ones, and then there's like a few other ones in there, but there's just But what I was gonna say is that the album art reminds me, makes me think of 2 things. Which the first is coming from 008 to this is kind of shocking how different Monster Cat's style is. Because like from the 008, it's like all playful, and then you go to this, which is like on the opposite end of a spectrum, which is kind of interesting to look at.
They're gonna go back since they teamed with Roblox.
They have to. They're contractually obliged to not be able to make album art like this anymore.
Yeah, I've really noticed though. For like, I think it's especially like in the past 2 years, I've really noticed how Monster Cat is really trying to advertise itself as like a more sort of mature label, like with the album arts, with like they're trying to do like this very like big lore with like the album arts and like the designer fashion lines and all that.
Yeah, they don't want to be a small family anymore like they were back in the old days. Now it's Monster Cat on Cage Volume this, and it's
now they're the cool kids club.
Yeah.
I think my biggest problem with like the Lost Civilization stuff is that there's like, you have stuff like the cover art story where it's just like you look at the cover art and you go like, oh, this is what happens. Like it's very straightforward and you don't really need to do a lot of searching. But for like massive like ARGs like this Lost Civilization thing, typically at the end there's always like some sort of reward, there's some sort of payoff that you get to know about. But in this one, from what I've like taken part in, there really is like nothing there. It's just here's some more lore, and then you figure out the lore, and it's just okay. Here's another one. Have fun.
They haven't done anything big with it, and I doubt they plan to.
Honestly, though, I remember when it was like first starting to come out, and like I think I remember reading somewhere that like some comment was like, "Oh, what if this is like a game or something, like a video game type?"
I know that they're having the board game. They're still working on that, but that's not.
Yeah,
The video game that they're probably talking about is the one in Roblox. That's probably what they were teasing all these years. Was the
Oh
Roblox?
my god!
I know
highly doubt that. I
It's
think
the
that's
next
just.
Fortnite map.
I think the Roblox thing was just because they kept on DMCAing people over stuff, and they're just like, whatever, let's just license stuff.
Nice. All right. Now moving to our last two items here. The next one turned 3 years old on Friday is the Fragments EP by Droptech, which personally I think this is some of, if not Droptech's best work on the label. But let's just go track by track. The first one is Mimic, which I think is the most similar to his other stuff. It's like, neurofunk, drum and bass. It's nice. It's pretty high quality. It's well made, but I don't think it's the most memorable off the EP for me.
Yeah, this is my biggest problem with Mimic, and it's also a problem that carries a lot with the rest of this EP, but people like complain a lot that Reaper is very much like generic neuro at halftime, but I'd very much argue that like Droptech stuff was that, but even worse. Like Mimic, especially
Reaper's the new Droptech.
Sort of, but like I guess Reaper has like some sort, like Reaper's like vocal samples and whatnot are really cool, but like Mimic is just an extremely generic neurofunk track that it just comes and it goes.
Yeah,
I'll agree with that. Like I'm just gonna talk about the whole EP right here. I don't like this EP. The only memorable song for me is Fragments because it's on the compilation. Like the rest are just very boring. They all sound the same to me. So that's my take.
Yeah, I'm gonna quick talk about the whole EP too. This is a big nostalgia boner for me. So it's still pretty good. Yeah, but honestly, the only tracks I really come back to are Fragments and maybe like a little bit of Mimic. But yeah, otherwise, it's just kind of there. And like, I'm not gonna skip it, but I'm not gonna seek it out too much either, except for Fragments. Fragments is good.
Yeah, Mimic is the only other one that I remember because I used it in a mashup with Elevate. So
both of you guys are just going to talk about like the whole EP. I might as well just like, because my thoughts on most of these are very like one note. Like Inject has very much like the same problems as Mimic, as being very basic and forgettable, other than like it has a nice melody, so that sort of adds a bit to it. Fragments I think is extremely boring. I think my biggest problem with it is that it sort of just, it builds up, then it drops, then it ends, and then it just kind of restarts. Like it doesn't really have any sort of sense of progression as a song. And then Ecstasis is probably my favorite just because of how sound design heavy it is and just how like weird it is for the label.
All right. Well, I guess I'll go on my thoughts on the other one since I had not had the opportunity to do so yet. Inject, I thought was really cool. I like the bass sound on there. It's a banger, at least in my book. Fragments, I know some people labeled it as like Diet Camo and Crooked, but Camo and Crooked is amazing, so Diet Camo and Crooked is still pretty good. So I quite like Fragments. It's my favorite on there, and I think the guitar is really neat too. And then Ecstasis, like you mentioned, really cool sound design on there. It's really creepy, but definitely one of the more unique ones on the label, so that was neat to see. And I think the key is it like Phrygian Dominant or something, so that was actually quite interesting as well.
Mm-hmm.
And similar to what happened with Dumu last week, I don't know if this was a coincidence or if this was actually planned, but this EP came out 2 years after on the same day as another Droptech song, his collab with Muzzy, now Muzz, which is Warhead, which I know we mentioned this one a bit before, but now we can talk about it more in depth, which I think that first halftime bit is a banger, and the drum and bass parts have a lot of energy, so I think this is actually quite a good collab between the two of them.
Yeah. Like like I kind of like rail on these artists both for being very basic and generic, but for whatever reason, when they combine, they really like bring out the best portions of each other. Like it has a really good like I guess like ambience and world building to it, especially in the first half, and the full on drone bass drop is still like insane. And I have a funny story with this one that I think the first time that I ever listened to this was on an airplane, like in the air, and I'd listened to it and I heard like the air raid sirens and I just turned it off like, nope, not bad idea. Bad thoughts.
Oh no.
Yeah,
It
I don't.
could be worse. It could be ambush. You could hear that.
True.
Yeah, that
That's
Bro,
a
you
song.
hear a window opening sound effect on like your left headphone. And you just turn it on.
that'd be oh my god.
Oh man, I like this track, and I kind of want to see more of this sort of. I mean, yeah, of course, there's world building in Moses tracks like all the time, and especially with this LP so far. But like, I want to see like a darker tone too. I mean, of course, it is kind of dark as it is, but like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say about this.
'Cause, like,
I like it.
The F minor Factory P was really dark, but some of these so far, like Starglide and Somewhere Else, are
Yeah,
not as dark.
exactly. That's what I'm trying to say there. It's like something like F minor Factory sort of thing.
I don't love this song, but like the production on it is phenomenal. Like it's a song that I respect as being good. I just don't have a great taste for it. So, like what you guys are saying is definitely true. I just don't feel that. So,
All right. I think there's only one fitting way to end this episode, at least for this week. We'll be right back.